Yo, what's going on, you guys? Hope you're having a super positive day. Today I want to share with you my strand build a little bit more in depth. I know that a couple of you guys have enjoyed my other builds. I was skeptical about doing strand at first because I was uninformed and not very knowledgeable about the subclass. But after a bit of testing, I found something that I finally do come to love. Now, I've used the build quite a few times in GMs and master content, and being able to string up the champions and tormentors is basically endlessly. It's a blast, and it takes a load of pressure off of the fire team. Now, I hope they don't nerf suspending, but if they do, I'll completely understand, because being able to string up all these champs and stuff, it's really unfair from a Guardian's perspective, but it's a lot of fun. Now, I've been pleased with the build, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you do, please drop a like and sub, because it means a lot to me. But anyways, y'all stay positive out there. Let's get into it. Peace. Alright, you guys, we'll start with the subclass. Of course, we've got Strand. We've got our only super, which is Silk Strike. Pretty awesome. We've got Marksman Dodge because it is a smaller cooldown than Gambler's Dodge. Now, I know that if you do the Slam, which is the Ensnaring Slam, which allows you to slam while you're in midair, suspending the targets that you hit, it does indeed increase the cooldown, but it's based off of the base cooldown, which means it's still going to be less by using the Marksman's Dodge. Now I'm using Triple Jump, Threaded Spike, of course, and then finally Shackle Grenade. I know that the reason we're all wanting to use Strand is for the grapple, but Shackle Grenade just seems to be the most beneficial with taking care of Tormentors and champions. It's just unmatched. Now we have our two fragments, which is Ensnaring Slam we talked about a second ago, being able to dive to the ground and suspend our target. We also have Widow Silk, which is an extra grenade charge that pairs really well with the Shackle, with the Ensnaring Slam, and with our exotic. Moving on to the fragments, we do have Thread of Continuity to make our suspends last even longer. Thread of Generation says dealing damage generates grenade energy, and this is any kind of energy, so as long as you're just putting forth a lot of damage, whether it be from an auto rifle, the faster amount of damage you can do, the better. Even damage over time, any amount of damage counts, which is very relevant. And sometimes even if you have, say you throw your grenade out, you suspend somebody, and you just burn them down with your assault rifle or whatever, sometimes before their suspend even ends, you're able to get your grenade back instantly, keeping this almost endlessly. Then we have Thread of Binding, which allows our super to suspend as well. It does not suspend the person we're hitting, but if we kill somebody, then they emit a burst that will suspend all the targets around them. This is extremely relevant, and I've done this a lot in the GMs where I go after a weaker target like a little red bar, but it will suspend the Tormentor or the champions beside it. And then finally, I had Thread of Mind. It allows us to get our class ability back faster if we kill the suspended targets. This only actually helps if we are the one that deals the final blow on a suspended target. And this one's the most interchangeable. I have tried it out with a couple of different ones, like Thread of Warding, which will give us a little bit more resilience and resistance when picking up an Orb of Power. But this build is not extremely great at making Orbs of Power, and I found that a little bit lacking. It was nice when I had it, so if you have a teammate that's making a ton of orbs, this is fantastic. Speaking of orbs, we even tried Wisdom, which says if you defeat a suspended target with a precision final blow, then you'll create an orb of power. But the thing is that I'm trying to replace one of my four, and I didn't want to have to replace two of them instead of one, just to pair Warding and Wisdom together. If I did do something like that, it would be removing Thread of Binding, because the other two are just not options. But I did find it annoying that it had to be a precision final blow, even though they're suspended and they're just hanging there. The fact that I couldn't just whip out a shotgun or a fusion or even a glaive or whatever I wanted to do, it had to be a precision final blow, so it was kind of annoying. Even rockets, so forth. It was just a pain to my existence. But that's just a personal preference. You guys do whichever you want to do. I do recommend Continuity and Generation, definitely. It is extremely relevant, and them two paired together along with our super and our stats and our mods allows you to endlessly chain your slam and your shackle grenade. Alright, on to the mods. I want to make a quick note that there's actually a couple of strand weapons of which I did end up using and really do enjoy. Perpetualis is one. As you can see, I've got it crafted. You can get it with Demolitionist, and this comes from the war table. This thing's been fantastic to do exactly what I've been trying to do. The reason it's been great is because with Demolitionist, anytime you get a kill, you get percentage of your grenade back, and we're already getting tons of grenade energy just by dealing damage, and with this being an auto rifle, it's just feeding into that even better. But in the event that you need to stun something else, say an unstop, you've got the new strand scout rifle. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of it. Let's just call it Terax. Yeah, that seems better. But anyway, this is obviously just the roll that you get immediately after doing the opening quest, but there is technically hatchling inside the loot pool if you wanted to try to aim for that just for a little bit more synergy. I don't really think it needs it. The point of it is to have a strand weapon that can shoot the tangles. One more side note is that I do know that the Quicksilver Storm is also fantastic, with it being an auto rifle just as the Perpetualis. It shoots a little bit faster, and this weapon's damage type becomes strand once you finish the catalyst. As you can see here, I have not finished the catalyst, and then it will say final blows with the grenades create tangles. I haven't got to that point yet. I'm sure it makes it even better. You guys be the judge of that. I'll let you know once I get it finished, but this is just a quick little side note before we get straight into the mods. Now, I want you guys to know that the artifact is not mandatory, but it does benefit the build. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in here, but this build will work next season even if these particular perks are not in there, which they probably won't be. So the Untangler mod, throwing a tangle with a strand weapon suspends targets damaged by the explosion. This is pretty massive. It really does help out a ton, because if you do end up making a strand tangle while you're out there into the GMs or whatever, and then you shoot that tangle with your strand weapon, which is why we just talked about the strand weapons, then it will just cause an explosion which will suspend everybody else around it. This is extremely helpful because then you don't have to use your resources, but your resources feed so well into themselves that they give each other so much energy that you're able to get all of your resources back constantly. The next one's Threaded Blast, which says destroying a tangle with a strand weapon will make a larger and more damaging explosion. Again, this is helpful in this particular build, so please use it, please put it on, but it's not required. As far as next season, it will still be useful. Alright, as you can see, this is the build that we've got going on right here, and I'm just going to jump straight into the exotic real quick, just in case you guys are unfamiliar. We're using the 6th Coyote, which will give us a second dodge charge. Now, the only reason why this is relevant is because, in this case, it's going to give us a second dive, allowing us to have 2 grenades and 2 dives at a time. With that being said, the dive does not proc things like Bomber and Reaper, which are down here inside your cloak. Yes, I've got them on because every now and then I still will dodge just to reload my weapon. Like I said, you will get your abilities back constantly very fast, so I'm not afraid to actually dodge to reload my weapon, to proc Reaper and to proc Bombers, to proc Distribution. But these will not get procced by simply using your dive, which is kind of unfortunate because it is the class ability, but hey, I don't make the rules around here. The next major contributor is our arms, where we've got 2 grenade kickstarts, which just gives us a little bit of grenade energy whenever we use our grenade, and this is very relevant just to get us that extra little kick. And then finally, with bolstering detonation, it's whenever the grenade does damage, because the grenade does do damage, it will help give us a little bit of class ability energy as well. So to just list all the ways that we're getting our abilities back, we've got the grenade kickstarts, which give a little bit of grenade energy. We've got bolstering detonation, which makes our grenades do damage and gives us class ability energy. And then we've got threat of generation, which gives us grenade energy just by doing damage, and threat of mind, which gives us class ability energy just by killing the targets that we suspend. Now, this is a lost sector machine because it doesn't matter which champions you run into, and it seems to me like Strand is always being the Surge on the GMs, the lost sectors, things like that. I've ran this in multiple GMs, as you could see in the footage before. And this is the exact build that I have. Yes, I move around a couple of the resistance mods and the siphon mods, things like that, which kind of damage mod we do. I understand that. But it's still a well-oiled machine when it comes to a GM, a lost sector, a dungeon, things like that. Or if you're just simply ad clearing away. Anyways, well, I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys check it out. Hope you guys really do put forth the effort to put this together and try it out in maybe a Grandmaster or harder content so that you can see how much easier this will make it. And hope you guys have a blessed day. Peace.
My appetite, don't leave me here high and dry.